you believe that in the heart of modern Europe? There still exists a country that feels like a time machine, a place where you can touch the breath of the Middle Ages and yet hear the pulse of modern life beating all around you. The Czech Republic, a small landlocked nation, but one that hides an extraordinary allure. Like a secret jewel locked away in the center of the continent. Imagine yourself strolling down cobblestone streets, where Gothic spires pierce the silver mist, where the setting sun casts golden light across red-tiled rooftops, making the entire city glow like a living painting. Then, in a blink, the scene shifts, the chime of a tram bell rings out. Cafe windows blaze with warm light, and crowds of modern faces hurry past, smartphones in hand, as if this were any global metropolis. It is this striking duality that makes Prague, the beating heart of the Czech Republic, unlike anywhere else on Earth. Today's episode of Fascinating Discoveries is titled, Life in the Czech Republic in 2025, a timeless journey through history and modernity. Together, we will uncover how a nation once caught in the shadows of empires has emerged as one of the most enchanting destinations in the world. Why does the astronomical clock tell not only the passage of time, but also a haunting tale of betrayal and tragedy? How can a modern glass and concrete structure be seen as two lovers dancing in the midst of a medieval city? This is not just a journey of travel, but a passage through the fog of time itself, where history and modernity intertwine, where the past and the present do not collide, but compose a symphony together. And right now, let us open the very first door into this extraordinary adventure. Number 1. Location and geography, a landlocked heart, nurtured by a river. What happens when a nation has no sea, no ocean, and yet is still called the heart of Europe? The answer lies in the Czech Republic, a small landlocked country whose lifeblood flows through a ribbon of water known as the Vltava River. Nestled in Central Europe, this nation lacks the sweeping coastlines of Italy. It has no bustling ports like the Netherlands. Yet it thrives thanks to a river that runs 430 kilometers from south to north, carrying with it the pulse of an entire culture. Picture yourself gazing from above. The Vltava winds through Prague like a colossal mirror, reflecting both history and the present moment. On its banks, castles stand guard, cathedrals rise skyward, and stone bridges bind centuries together, all while modern cafes glow at dusk and office towers buzz with the rhythm of a new generation. Legend has it that centuries ago, Prague's prosperity was born from this river, as boats laden with beer, timber, and goods sailed northward, transforming the city into a hub of trade. Locals still call the Vltava their gentle mother, a giver of life and a mirror of their soul. That is why sunsets along its banks feel almost sacred, cherished equally by visitors and natives alike. From another perspective, being landlocked spared the Czech Republic from centuries of colonial wars fought over ports and naval dominance. Instead, the nation cultivated an identity rooted in its internal lifelines, turning what seemed like a weakness into the foundation of resilience and continuity. And so, to truly understand the spirit of the Czech Republic, you must begin with this river, because it is here, along its winding flow, that the story of a timeless nation comes alive. Now, let us leave the riverbanks behind and journey deeper into the heart of Prague, where history and modernity weave together into an endless tale. Number 2. Prague, the beating heart of history. What allows a city to endure centuries of upheaval, yet preserve its soul as if time itself had chosen to stand still? The answer is Prague, the capital of the Czech Republic, affectionately known as Prague Old Town, the largest open-air museum in Europe, where every brick and every window seems to whisper the stories of bygone eras. Along the Vltava River, the majestic Charles Bridge stretches across the water, its hundreds of stone statues standing like eternal witnesses of history. Each sculpture is more than stone, it is a story, a legend, a fragment of collective memory etched into permanence. And beyond it, rising proudly on the horizon, stands Prague Castle, the largest ancient castle in the world. Once the seat of kings, emperors, and dynasties from the rulers of Bohemia to the mighty Habsburgs. It is said that every step leading up to the castle has been worn smooth by millions of footsteps, nobles, merchants, soldiers, and ordinary townsfolk, all leaving their mark on the flowing river of history. But Prague's magic does not lie only in its grandeur. What sets it apart is the strange harmony of architectural styles, Gothic, Baroque, Art Nouveau, coexisting as though the centuries themselves had conspired to meet here. Walking through the city feels less like strolling streets and more like traveling across layers of time. And then comes twilight. As the golden sun sinks low, its light spills across the rooftops and onto the river, transforming Charles Bridge into a living current of humanity. Thousands of tourists, street performers, and locals moving together in the rhythm of the present moment. They talk, laugh, sing, and play instruments right there, in the heart of history. This is Prague's most beautiful paradox, a city silent in its past, yet vibrantly alive in its present. And from this heartbeat of history, we continue our journey deeper into the symbols and legends that have given Prague its eternal soul. Number 3. Icons and legends, when architecture speaks. Have you ever imagined that stone walls and gears of metal could tell stories? In Prague, they do. If there is one symbol that captures the soul of this city, it is the astronomical clock. Each hour, crowds gather beneath the tower, eyes fixed on the ancient mechanism as though they were watching time itself spin. Yet behind this masterpiece lies a chilling tragedy. The clockmaker, after completing his magnum opus, was blinded by the king so no replica could ever be made. In despair, he threw himself from the tower, and legend has it that the clock stopped working for 50 years, mourning the death of its own creator. This tale reminds us that beauty often comes with a price, and glory is sometimes carved from suffering. But just across from this medieval shadow stands a very different icon, the dancing house. Two structures of glass and concrete curve gracefully, as if caught mid-tango, daring to move where the city has stood still for centuries. It is a bold reminder that Prague is not only a city of memory, but also one of modernity, where the past and the present coexist like two dancers entwined. And it is in this paradox, between tragedy and triumph, stillness and movement, that Prague becomes more than a city. It becomes a living book, where every building is a chapter and every street a page of history. From here, our journey continues, deeper into the living pulse of a city that refuses to choose between memory and progress, because it has chosen to embrace both. Number 4. Modern life, trams, rhythms, and a new generation. Have you ever wondered what happens when a 1,000-year-old city moves in step with the 21st century? Prague provides the answer. Beyond its treasure chest of history, the capital surprises visitors with a modern rhythm pulsing through everyday life. Picture this: the familiar bell of the Czech Tram rings, its red and white carriages gliding past medieval facades before disappearing into sleek, modern districts, bridging two worlds with a single ride. For less than €1, a metro ticket costs about 20 koruna, and in just minutes you can cross the city safely and efficiently. Yet beneath this convenience lies a paradox. The average income hovers around 40.000 koruna, roughly 1.600 euros. But a small apartment in the city center can cost up to 25.000 koruna a month. Many young people, faced with this challenge, choose to share apartments, creating not only shared spaces but also a shared lifestyle. And within these walls, something profound is shifting: faith. Roughly 40% of the population does not believe in the existence of a deity. And the younger generation in particular has turned away from traditional religion, finding meaning instead in science, technology, and lived experience. They search for purpose not in pews or pulpits, but in creative projects, distant travels, and digital innovation. This is the portrait of Prague's new generation, youthful, pragmatic, and globally connected. From the ancient chime of the astronomical clock to the electric hum of the metro, the city composes a strange symphony where past and present do not clash, but instead play in harmony. And it is from this rhythm of modern life that our journey continues, deeper into the soul of the Czech people and the enduring values they carry into the future. Number 5. People and society, smiles and genius. Can you believe that a people who have endured centuries of war, division, and upheaval would greet you with nothing more than a quiet smile? The Czechs embody that very paradox. From the outside, they may appear reserved, pale eyes, solemn faces, expressions carved in stone like statues standing against the winter wind. And yet, meet their gaze. Offer a casual hello, and you will receive a smile, subtle, understated, but powerful enough to bridge centuries of silence. Picture this: on a crisp afternoon at Charles Bridge, you fumble with your camera, uncertain, when a stranger steps forward and offers to take the photo for you. In that instant, Prague ceases to be a silent museum of stone and history. It becomes a place where human kindness creates unexpected connections. But behind that simple smile lies a legacy of intellect that has shaped the world. Here, Gregor Mendel, both monk and scientist, planted the seeds of genetics. From here, humanity learned a new word, robot, not coined in a Silicon Valley lab, but born on the stage of Karel Čapek's theater. And Franz Kafka, the son of Prague, penned stories that tore open the fabric of the human psyche, exposing the fears, the alienation, and the desperate hopes of the modern soul. A small city, yes, but one that has given humanity ideas powerful enough to reshape civilization. Imagine the cinematic scene: an ancient library, shelves towering toward the vaulted ceiling, shafts of golden light piercing through dusty glass, cut against street footage of Prague where simple smiles are exchanged between strangers. It is a haunting juxtaposition, lofty genius beside everyday warmth. And slowly you realize, the greatest legacy of the Czech people is not only in their architecture, nor in their inventions, but in their ability to reconcile what seems irreconcilable: the coldness of history and the warmth of humanity. It is a quiet lesson, but a profound one. Sometimes, all it takes is a smile to write the next chapter of human destiny. Number 6. Food in everyday culture, flavors of the forest. Have you ever thought that a humble dish from the forest could tell you the story of a nation's soul? In the Czech Republic, this becomes clear in a familiar image: families venturing into the woods, wicker baskets in hand, carefully bending down to pick mushrooms after the rain. Locals call mushrooms the meat of the poor, a simple phrase, yet one heavy with meaning. When money for meat was scarce, they tossed mushrooms into stews, simmered them into soups, or fried them golden, creating flavors both rustic and deeply rooted in nature. Imagine an early morning, mist still draped across the forest, children running eagerly behind their parents, eyes lighting up at the sight of a mushroom pushing through damp leaves, a small joy, but one that nourishes a lifetime of memories. From such modest rituals, we glimpse the Czech way of life: practical, grounded, and always in tune with what nature offers. Yet everyday culture here extends beyond the forests, reaching out to distant shores. Because Prague's weather is famously fickle, even in summer. Cold rain can fall without warning. Many families escape to Turkey or Greece, where blazing sun and endless seas provide the warmth they crave. These simple patterns, from a steaming bowl of mushroom soup in a small kitchen to a summer journey across borders, compose a vivid cultural canvas. And within this canvas lies the true essence of Czech life: the delicate balance between tradition and modernity. between the gifts of their own land and the allure of the wider world. From this, our journey moves forward, toward deeper reflections on how the Czech people weave together nature, heritage, and the rhythm of a global age. Prague is not just a city, it is like a vast open book, where every page tells a century of history and every street reads like a chapter of a never-ending fairy tale. As you wander through Prague Old Town, pause upon Charles Bridge, or gaze at the intricate face of the astronomical clock, you are not merely witnessing monuments, you are listening to the heartbeat of an entire continent, echoing from the Middle Ages to the present day. And then you begin to wonder, how can a small landlocked country become known as the heart of Europe? Perhaps the answer lies in the Czech people's gift for balance, for weaving together memory and ambition, for carrying both the shadows of the past and the light of the present into the future. This journey reminds us that there are places not only to visit, but to feel, to live, and to remember. So ask yourself, are you ready to step into other stories, where the world reveals secrets it has never told before? Stay with us, because this journey of discovery has only just begun. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Fascinating Discoveries, so that each week we can turn together to a new page in the extraordinary book we call Earth.